The leadership in North Korea does not allow foreign media influence in the country, and only a few people have been privileged to visit this hermit nation. Here's 13 reasons why you don't want to visit North Korea anyway. 13. Strict government monitoring. While it is not a bad thing for the government of any country to monitor the activities of its citizens, the North Korean government takes it to the extreme. The government is very strict with tourists, and the few ones who enter are usually placed under strict surveillance. All tours are run by the Korean International Travel Company, and your guide is carefully selected by the agency. North Korea is certainly not the country for adventure or any other independent tour. You're not allowed to interact with the citizens, and they are also not permitted to speak with you. Tourists are not allowed on public transport, and you can only leave your hotel premises when your tour guide orders you to leave. 12. Limited freedom of expression. North Korea is one of the world's most repressive states. There's no freedom of expression for the citizens of the country. If you have anything unpleasant to say about the government of the country, kindly do yourself a favor and be quiet. You could be imprisoned just for having opposing views to the North Korean government, and no one will know a thing about it. Worse, you can be maimed or even killed. As a tourist who is naive about the affairs of the country, it's better to just keep quiet, as you do not know what is unpleasant to the government and citizens of North Korea. 11. Honor the president. I know you might be wondering, how is this something bad? It is definitely moral and commendable to honor the leader of your country. However, honor in the North Korea context is quite different from what you are probably thinking of right now. For example, it is a must that you take a deep bow to the huge statues of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-un on major holidays in North Korea, including the New Year and Kim Il-sung's birthday. This is usually supervised by designated officials, and you might be arrested immediately if you ignore them. The president of North Korea probably has the highest number of titles in the world, and it will be considered rude to call him by name. Koigorgori Doja, which means the Supreme Leader, is the most popular of his titles, while others include titles like Dear Respected Marshal, Son of the 21st Century, Banner of All Victory and Glory, and so on. No images of any leaders may be folded or treated carelessly. That can also lead to an immediate arrest. 10. Zero tolerance for religion. North Korea is officially an atheist state, and the government does not condone any form of religious activities in the country except the few sanctioned by the leader. Christianity is particularly detested, as the government sees the religion as being anti-communist and an association to the United States. It is, however, worthy of note that North Korea used to be a stronghold of Christianity in Asia before the Second World War and was once known as the Jerusalem of the East. Today, it is an entirely different story, as the World Watch List reported that over 50,000 to 70,000 Christians are currently held imprisoned and severely tortured for their faith. Kim Jong-un definitely had no regard for religion, and a tourist must dare not profess or practice his or her religion in North Korea. 9. Americans are not wanted here. North Korea is a communist state and an enemy of the United States of America. There are two countries in which their citizens are not permitted to have the North Korean visa: South Korea and the United States. The reason for this hatred towards America dates back to the aftermath of World War II, after Japan lost control of a unified Korean territory. The two world superpowers then, USSR and the United States, occupied Korea and agreed to form an independent government for a unified Korea. The agreement eventually failed. The USSR then formed a communist government in the north, which the United States was opposed to. This was the primary reason why the communist North Korean government hates Americans. The travel ban against the United States was lifted temporarily, but recent brewing tensions between the United States and North Korea is something Americans intending to visit North Korea should be worried about. Otto Frederick WARMBIER, a 22-year-old American college student who was on a tour to North Korea, was arrested for stealing a banner in 2016. He was then released by North Korea in June 2017 in a vegetative state. He died eventually that same month. The United States government then announced in July 2017 that United States citizens will not be permitted to travel to North Korea. 8. You don't have access to your gadget while on tour. North Korea does not simply want to have anything to do with the world and does not want the world to meddle in their affairs. They are rightly the most secretive people in the world. Your phone and other gadgets are confiscated at the embassy. Though they might be returned to you, I don't think it's fun to go on a tour without taking pictures of the places you're visiting. Tourists are placed under surveillance as the North Korean government believes that they could be spies. If you can't tour a place without taking pictures, do not visit North Korea, as you might be arrested for doing so. 7. No emergency services from your home country. Most countries, especially the United States, have no emergency services for citizens and visitors in North Korea. The U.S. Department of State Bureau of Consular Affairs states that the U.S. is not able to provide emergency services to United States citizens in North Korea as it does not have any diplomatic or consular relations with North Korea. Sweden sometimes helps to provide emergency services for United States citizens in North Korea, but it is very limited. You're simply on your own and must ensure you do not put yourself in a situation that warrants an emergency. 6. The Rona-19 level in North Korea cannot be ascertained. North Korea is simply a nation that does not relate to the rest of the world. They deal with pandemics in their own way without requesting help from health organizations in the world. The most recent pandemic is no different. The CDC does not know the level of COVID in the country and has issued a travel health notice for North Korea. Hence, you have a high chance of contracting it, and there's no assurance of proper health care for tourists in North Korea. Aside from the disturbing pandemic, little is known about the state of health in the country, and you might be putting your health at risk by touring an unknown land. 5. You will not see actual North Korea. Your tour will be restricted to certain places as designated by the North Korean government. You will not know how the citizens live, the political situation of the country will be hidden from you as much as possible, and you will not be able to make friends among the locals. Then, what is a tour without all these things? You only get to see what the North Korean government wants you to see. 4. A rigorous screening exercise. North Korea is probably the only country in the world that checks tourist browsing history before giving them access to the country. Everything you carry will be thoroughly scrutinized by customs officials, and most of them will likely be confiscated before you can enter the country. This is to ensure that you're not carrying any material that is against the government in the country. It is even riskier for you if any Western media content or literature about North Korea is found in your gadgets or luggage. 3. You cannot call North Korea, North Korea. This is a weird part. You dare not mention North Korea in North Korea. You might pay a heavy price for that. It is called the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. This is what you call the country if you're in North Korea, or you might get yourself in trouble. 2. Potential unrest. North Korea is investing heavily in its military prowess, and questions have been raised about the integrity of the process by which the government does so. This should make a foreigner worried. James Clapper, former Director of National Intelligence of the United States, rightly said there are 4 things you do not pray for. They are pyorrhea, diarrhea, gonorrhea, and North Korea. 1. Haircuts. Men are prohibited from growing their hair longer than 5 centimeters, less than 2 inches, while older men can get away with up to 7 centimeters. Anyone in North Korea must follow the rules regarding hairstyle, or you might find yourself in trouble yet again. For your haircut, you will be shown around 18 pictures with different styles. The only thing you can do is pick one for yourself. There are a couple theories as to why this mandate is in place, including that Kim is not a fan of previous styles. Perhaps he just wants to avoid having to grow a pompadour like his father's. If you enjoyed this video, watch this one next.